Well, we've been waiting long enough. The Season 3 trailer for The Bad Batch is finally here, and it was a big one. There was a lot of shocking moments in there, and I think for me personally, it's left me with more questions than answers, which is never a bad thing, because it gives you a lot more intrigue into what's going to happen, and it's always nice when you don't get too much of the story just pumped into the trailer. Now, there's a lot of things that we did learn here, as I say, some of them very big things, some of them very spoilery. So by all means, if you have not seen the trailer, I'd very much recommend that you do go and watch it now, because I'm about to run through some of the biggest things that we learned from the Bad Batch Season 3 trailer. If you haven't, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Got a lot of videos planned in the near future. And I'm absolutely loving doing all these videos, just having a blast, just focusing on Star Wars content, kind of keeping it positive, just enjoying, Star Wars for what it is. So by all means, if you enjoy that, please do hit the subscribe button and leave me a like. So yes, here we go. We're going to jump in and find out the biggest things that we learned from the Bad Batch trailer. So the very first thing that we learned from the trailer is the release date, and that is the 21st of February, and it is going to be a 3-episode premiere. Interestingly, this is one day before Avatar: The Last Airbender releases on Netflix, which is a show I'm also going to be watching, so it's going to be a very busy week for me. But this is a trend now of Star Wars shows on Disney Plus releasing multiple episode premieres. The Bad Batch Season 2 did it, Kenobi, Ahsoka, Andor, they all had multiple episode premieres, and again it says to me that the episode's going to be fairly short, 20 to 25 minutes. It means that there's going to be at least, I would imagine, 12 to 15 episodes, as we've seen as standard for the Bad Batch, and it also says that the first 3 episodes will be tied together in an arc. I don't think it's going to be a major arc, I think it's going to be setting us up for the season, but it definitely indicates that it will be connected for the first 3 episodes at the very least. The second thing that we learned is Ian McDiarmid is back as Emperor Palpatine. He made his debut in the Bad Batch in Season 2. Always great to see Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine. He has such a presence, and it's just as much in animated form. Now, I'll be honest and say I didn't expect him to return. I'm very pleased that he has, and it appears as though he is making a visit to the cloning facility on Tantis. He remarks in his time in the trailer about how important this project is to the future of the Empire's security. We know why that is, given the events that unfold. Afterwards, the cloning facilities are very important to his resurrection, and so he places a high priority on this, but it is very good to see him back, and with his royal guards in tow. The third thing that we learn is that bounty hunters will be in this season. We have seen bounty hunters previously, including Cad Bane and Fennec Shand, and they will return. Now, whether the Bad Batch are going to seek some of their aid in trying to track down Omega, Cad Bane is an interesting one, given the fact that he has previously tried to kidnap Omega. So it will, I imagine he'll play a more of an antagonistic role going forward in this this story. If he has a major role to play at all, it might just be a short cameo, given his history with the group. Fennec Shand, I can definitely see her sticking around and giving them some aid. Again, always great to see Fennec Shand on screen, and I hope that they do a lot more with the character going forward. The fourth thing that we learned, and the first real moment of spoilery stuff, is that Crosshair, who we see in the trailer looking very forlorn, having been captured and being held in the Imperial facility, is back with the group in his original clone armor. He's back in his Bad Batch gear. Now, don't get me wrong, I really liked his Imperial getup, but I think it was obvious that he wasn't going to be going back to that anytime soon. But there are a couple of shots in the trailer where he is actively helping the Bad Batch, and as I say, being back in his original armor suggests that they rescue him, and he joins forces with them once again, which I am very excited to see. The fifth thing that we learn, and this is again a bit of a mystery, but there is a character that appears at a point in the trailer, stood in front of a bunch of stormtroopers with some very interesting armor. It almost looks like he could be a member of the Bad Batch himself. It's grey armor, it's got a very interesting helmet. Now, I've seen some people speculate that this could be Tech, and that wouldn't be out of the realms of possibility. He did fall, and we did not see the result. If you don't see the body, very often they're not dead. And for him to be picked up, reprogrammed by the Empire, would be an interesting twist, but I think it would be a fairly predictable one, and with us already having the theme of one member of the group having been coerced by the Empire, and us already on a rescue mission, I just can't see it being the case. I think that this is a character that we know, a character that has been in previous seasons. I think this is Scorch, and my reasoning is that, firstly, yes, he is a commando. We do see him in his commando gear in earlier seasons. However, there is a shot here later in the trailer where we see a figure, and it's definitely a clone, who has his helmet off, and it looks as though he's wearing the same armor of that character. We also see a shot later on of the same clone using a flamethrower, and really, Scorch, flamethrower, that kind of makes sense. So that's my speculation. Again, this is one of those, it's kind of like, we'll have to wait and see. But it is going to be very interesting to see where exactly, this character fits in to the show. And last but not least, of course, the big reveal at the end that Asajj Ventress is still alive, and it looks like she's going to play a part aiding the Bad Batch. The shot at the very end of the trailer sees her deflecting red blaster bolts, which is the same colour as the Imperial Stormtroopers use, whilst having blue blaster bolts come from behind. So I do very much believe that she is going to join forces with the Bad Batch. Now, people will be thinking, but Asajj Ventress died in the Dark Disciple book in 2015, and you would be correct. She did die saving Quinlan Vos from Count Dooku. Now, I thought at first this is going to be a retcon, which is odd because Disney, whilst it's not against retconning things from the EU, or even maybe things from comics, it hasn't really touched on retconning too much from its own novels. And with the release of the trailer, StarWars.com in its press release did say that Asajj Ventress her story is going to fall in line with the events of Dark Disciple. And I've got to admit, this kind of confused me because, well, obviously she survives the events which take place during the Clone Wars, which is, again, a few years before the Bad Batch happens. So it means that she survived. Maybe, again, hid the fact that she was alive from the wider galaxy. After all, she isn't, she doesn't have many friends out there. But again, it does make me think how they're going to position this, and what she's been up to all this time. She's got some very cool looking yellow sabers. She's got that Shaw crew cut. So how she's going to play, who knows? So that's just some of the big things that we learned. There are other things. We saw Wolf in the trailer. There's a lot of interesting locations that I'm not quite ready to speculate on just because we have very limited information. And let's face it, one rocky planet can look just like any other rocky planet in Star Wars. They tend to all have that kind of same feature for the most part. But I probably will make a few more videos. One, definitely speculating on the plot of Season 3 going forward. But this is just what we've learned so far from the trailer. So I'd very much be interested to think, to see what you think and read what you think in the comments. So please do leave a comment there, and if I've missed anything, again, feel free to correct me, give me any extra info, because again, that's how I learn a lot of the interesting details from trailers like this, because again, everyone, we all take things differently, we interpret them differently, and certainly, at times I can not be the most attentive of people. But thank you very much for watching. As I say, please do leave a like, and if you haven't, please do consider subscribing. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the next video.